how I got into a BSMD and why I declined. BSMDs are known as some of the most selective programs out there, with some of them boasting acceptance rates of 1% or even lower. If you clicked on this video, you probably already know what a BSMD is, but just in case you don't, they're exactly what the name says. It's a joint program that allows you to get both your bachelor's and your medical degree with one acceptance. And so the biggest upside here is you get a guaranteed spot in med school. Because of this, these are highly selective, and so in this video, I'll talk to you a little bit about what you can do to get into these programs, what these programs are looking for, and what I did in my application. So first, broad strokes. I applied to 3 BSMD programs: Brown's PLME, RPI's Physician Scientist program, and CASE's PPSP program. I got rejected from PLME, waitlisted from RPI, and finally accepted to CASE's PPSP. Okay, let's talk about what they're looking for. When you get admitted to one of these programs, the school is making a bet on you that you'll go through undergrad and med school and ultimately become a doctor. They're betting that throughout a time in your life where there's the most change in your goals, you're going to remain consistent in your desire to become a physician. So obviously, they're looking for indicators all the way from high school that A, you have a strong demonstrated interest in medicine, and B, you have enough experience with medicine for them to feel confident that you know what you're getting into, that you're not going to back out later on. They also want to know that you have the traits necessary to become a good doctor. So these are things like empathy, leadership, and ambition. So this gets into what you can do to demonstrate to these admissions officers that you meet these requirements. Two of the best things you can do are research and shadowing. Let's take them one at a time. Research is one of the biggest parts of my application, as I had 2 papers in the process of being published by application time. Research is really important because every doctor is going to have to get involved in research sometime in their career. So by getting involved early, you show these programs that you're both interested in medicine and that you're ambitious and ready to get a head start. Some high schools have programs to help you get started doing research, but if yours doesn't, by far the easiest way to get involved is to just send an email. Find a professor at a nearby university that's studying something that you're interested in and just reach out. Say, hey, professor, I saw that you were studying, I don't know, ocular biomarkers for Alzheimer's, and I'm really interested in your work and I want to get involved. Can we meet sometime to talk about it? Done. It might take a few tries for you to find the right doctor. Some of them might be busy or their labs might be full, but I guarantee you, send a few emails and you'll be on the right track. Next is shadowing. The reason shadowing is so important is because it shows these programs that you know what it's like to be a doctor. You've been around a hospital, you've talked to a doctor about their career, their life experience. You have a deep insight into your potential future and you made an informed decision to keep pursuing that. It's that simple. Shadowing shows them that you know what you're getting into. The way to get shadowing experience in high school is the same as getting research. Find a doctor nearby, send them an email, and wait for a response. That's it. You might not get it the first time around, but odds are you'll get a pretty positive response pretty quickly. The slightly more abstract is the qualities that make a good doctor. After all, when these admissions officers are looking at your application, they have to decide if you're going to make it a good doctor almost a decade before you actually become one. However, there are some applications that you can demonstrate in your activities and your essays that can help you show your potential. Leadership is super important. So whether starting a club or just having a leadership position in general, like captain of a sport, it shows that you have those necessary skills. Volunteering is also super important because it shows that you have empathy and a desire to help people, literally the most fundamental aspects of being a doctor. Finally is drive or passion. You have to find a way to convey that you're motivated and genuinely interested in medicine. So this could be by doing some sort of passion project, like a nonprofit, a medical YouTube channel, a research paper, whatever it is. Show that you're genuinely interested in medicine. Okay, now that we've talked about what they're looking for and what you can do, let's take a look about some of the key points of my application that got me 2 interviews and an acceptance. Like I said, one of the biggest parts of my application was research. For maybe 2, 3 years of my high school experience, I engaged in independent research about Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases. I was also able to get 2 papers accepted into high school research journals, which I think really solidified my application. Club-wise, I held a few leadership positions that I think really made a difference. One of the biggest of these was Spanish Honor Society. Not only was it a leadership position since I was the president, but a lot of what we did was volunteering and fundraising, which shows a genuine desire to help people beyond the bare minimum requirements. Another important leadership position I held was being a house prefect, which, if you've seen Harry Potter, that's what Percy Weasley was. Basically, I was in charge of a house of 40 to 50 people, and that showed both leadership and consideration, which I think really helped my application. Finally, were my essays. In a lot of my essays, I talked about my experiences that I knew covered requirements that these AOs were looking for. For example, I talked about volunteering experiences that really stuck with me, and shadowing in hospital for the first time, and how I developed a passion for medicine. However, they're not looking for robots that are just interested in one tiny thing. They're looking for people. They're looking for doctors to empathize with patients, so they want to see who you really are. In fact, for PPSP, which was the program that I got into, one of my essays was about how I enjoyed making video games. I even talked about that in my interview. I was showing who I genuinely was. Finally, let's talk about why I ended up declining my offer of acceptance to Casey's PPSP program. I ended up getting to Stanford, and after some thinking and consulting people currently in BSMDs, I decided to commit to Stanford instead. The biggest reason I did this was because I sincerely believed that if I worked hard in undergrad and utilized the many opportunities present at Stanford, I could ultimately get into a better med school. So that's my little rant about BSMDs. If you have any new questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, and if you have any ideas for future videos, just let me know.